Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Fox Can Fix It. Today, we are going to be working on this 1982 Honda Civic that I picked up. Ventura's still behind me. I still got the Ventura. And I'm currently counting up the totals for the finalists of the Pontiac Ventura naming contest. So that'll be coming up soon. But today, 1982 Honda Civic. So this is going to hopefully be my cheap drive to work car, allegedly on the highway from the factory. It got somewhere in the 40s on miles per gallon, and in the city 35, which my current average is about 15. So if I could get even a highway 35, that'd be great. Well, it doesn't run yet, so it doesn't go anywhere, or you could say it gets infinity miles per gallon because I'm not using any when I drive this because I can't drive this. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even get it running, because I'm 99% positive it'll run, is I'm going to fix the brakes. The rear brakes on it were locked up. Somebody had pulled the handbrake. Handbrake was stuck. That's what happens when cars sit. Freed that one up. The e-brake cables on this actually are sort of a lever action, so you can pry them back and loosen them up, which is not that bad of a job. You can do it externally, just laying under the car and free everything up. But those are going to need looked at. But even worse than that, when I got inside the car and I touched the brake pedal, like the great auto mechanic Flo Rida once said, it hit the flow. That pedal got low, 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 low. It did. You should have seen it. So, no matter what, this is going to need a master cylinder, which also, to be expected. This looks like the original. Almost everything on this car looks to be original. So, what we're going to do is we're going to swap that out. It was actually an in-stock part. Still pretty cheap. No core. It's a new one, so we can toss this old one out. We don't have to drag it back to the parts store. That's what we're going to do today, so let's get started. Coming in from the driver's side here, there is our brake master cylinder. It has two bolts up against the firewall, just underneath whatever this does that's from Honda. Of course it is. It's a Honda. And there's our two brake lines, 1, 2, so it shouldn't be that bad of a job. And we'll have to unplug the low fluid level sensor that's attached to this cap because this one comes with a new one. There you go. It's just a couple wires. Not a big deal. And it's a float, just like a carburetor float inside there. And when it gets too low, it turns the light on in the car. A couple lines. As you can see, like I said, a couple bolts. We should be out of there. Here you go. Here's the little level sensor float I was talking about. I don't know exactly how this plastic float translates into voltage, but that's what it does. So this goes up, light stays off, that goes down, light comes on. I don't see any metal contacts. I'm not 100% positive how that works. But it works. That's what it do. Okay. What I want to do first is I'm going to break both these lines loose, this one and this one. I'm going to break them loose before I go attacking the two mounting studs that are on the firewall. That way there's a lot less wiggle and it's a lot easier to get a good grip on these two flare nuts. Then it'll just be the two mounting studs on the wall and we should be out of there. Kind of hard to say, but I think these are 10 millimeter. If I can get a wrench on it, I'll tell you in a minute for sure. So many things in the way. There we go. Oh, there's a clear shot at it. All right, what do we got? It is. The first one is a 10 millimeter. Looks like the back one's probably the same. So these lines are 10 millimeter. Oh, I don't want you around either. Why are you not moving? Oh no, I know why you're not moving, because you've been on there since 1982. All right, next. All right, so it's kind of fighting me, so I'm going to go ahead and get my good 10 millimeter out and see if we can't get this to go. All right, get that down to 10 millimeter. And I'll take a crack at it this way. There we go. All right, let's get the old metric vice grip on this other one and break it loose so we can put a wrench on it and be done with it. Ugh. There we go. All right, the advantage of this on smaller things, and the reason why this works so well, is on a softer metal flare nut like you've got on your brake lines, when you're squeezing it this way, you're actually compressing part of that nut, just enough to possibly break some of the corrosion free and help you turn it. That's one of the reasons that that works on brake lines better than other things when you've got vice grips out. Now, do I know what I'm talking about? No. Am I full of crap? Possibly. But when I don't know and it still works, I call that engineering. I don't know the reason why, but I can theorize, and in my head, since it sounds good, that is factual. At least to me. Living life an eighth of a turn at a time here. Make sure you make funny faces when you're trying to break stuff loose by hand. Yep, no, that one didn't work. We'll try a different face next time. Doesn't help that there's undercoating on these brake lines. I mean, it has helped to not corrode these brake lines, but it doesn't help. But it really doesn't help that there's undercoating on them when I'm trying to spin them free. All right, first line's off. One to go. Might be, oh, it's off. Okay, both lines are now free. That only took a legitimate probably half hour in real time to do, but I do have a little bit better access to these nuts on the firewall. Let's see if they're 12s. I think they're going to be 12s or 14s, but it could be 13s. They're 12s. Okay. 12 millimeter socket it is. All right. I'm going to try a wobble socket first and see if that works, if I can get in there, hopefully not have to mess with wrenches. With this inner mounting stud and nut, while it's a little harder to see, I can actually get a 3/8 drive ratchet and extension and universal socket on it. Right there. Because it does not have the inlet and outlet lines attached on that side. So there's just enough room, and I should be able to get that out of there. All right, I finally weaseled both those mounting studs off of there. I should be able to, well, let's take this off because I haven't unplugged it yet. I should be able to weasel this master cylinder out of here. I should be able to get it out of there. There we go. Broke loose. And there we go. Yeah, I don't know why that wouldn't work. I mean, it's, ooh, look at that. There's why it wouldn't work. All the fluid is going that way. That looks terrible. Ugh. Yeah, okay. Straight into the filing bin. Let's wipe this off a little bit before we put anything back in. Get the corrosion that's on there out of there. I don't want it to stay in there because I don't want it to ruin this brake booster, which it may have already done, but we won't know that until we get everything back together. Okay, that's better. A little bit cleaner in there. You can't really see it, but thanks. Thanks a lot. Can't really see it, but got the crud out of there, so should be pretty good now. I'm going to unplug this cap that just reminded us we need to unplug it. Oh yeah, let's just rip that out of the firewall. No. Why is everything fighty? Why is everything so fighty? Come on. 1, 2. There we go. Still don't know how that works, but there it is. This one's going right to the garbage. All right, here's our new master cylinder. I've still got it blocked off because I don't want stuff leaking everywhere. Let's get this down on the studs and see if we can't get everything mounted up much easier than it came off. Okay, it was not without a fight, but that new master cylinder's in. Let's take a look at it. Here we go, nice and shiny. The 2 wires for that sensor on the low fluid level are hooked up, and everything else is good and clean. I'm going to hook these vacuum lines up, and then we'll get to bleeding this. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to gravity bleed this. So what we have left to do is we need to gravity bleed this, or we need to bleed it, and I'm by myself, so we're going to try gravity bleeding first. Gravity bleeding just means you're going to take 1 bleeder at a time, and you are going to crack it open and let fluid drip. And once you feel comfortable that you got most of the air out, you close it and you go to the next farthest one from the master cylinder. So you start far and you work your way near. So you do right rear, right front, left front. You could definitely jack this car up and make this easier, but you know, why do that? It's up on top of the drum because that's the highest point, and all you're going to do is take your wrench and you're going to crack it open. I'll show you. Okay, not the best angle and the sun is in the way, but here's the bleed screw right here, and I've got my wrench on it, and all I'm going to do is crack it, and I want to see fluid weeping out of it. Ow! And I want to, ow, hurt my thumb. There you go. You see the fluid weeping out of it right there and dripping down on my wrench? That's good. That's what we want. So I've sort of pre-bled this already a little bit. I'm trying to keep the sun out of your eyes here. Hold on. And now I just need to tighten it and move to the next one. But that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for no air bubbles and just fluid seeping. And then you tighten it, just like that. Make sure nothing's coming out, and we move to the next one. All right, so I already showed you the back. The front is no different. Here's the bleed screw. It's on the caliper. This is driver's side just because the sun is out of our eyes. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to crack it. And you see fluid coming out of it in a steady stream. That's a good thing. That means we got all the air out of it. Now, like I said, I did pre-bleed these a little bit, so I knew most of the air was already gone, but that's what you want to see, is you don't want air bubbles coming out of here when you crack it loose, which you'll notice. You'll just see them slowly, like sort of like soap bubbles, like bloop, bloop. But that was solid fluid, so we should be good. Alrighty, let's roll this backwards and see if the brake pedal works. Huh? Maybe, if I can get it to roll. Oh, hey, it did work. Let's try that again. Forward. Alright, get it going backwards. Oh yeah, no, the brakes definitely work now. Excellent. Okay, so that's one problem solved. Now I've got to work on getting it running. Now you may ask why I did the master cylinder and got the brakes fixed before I got it running. Mainly because it was less greasy that way. I know I'm going to have to pull the valve cover on that, and there's probably going to be oil everywhere. I'm going to have to pull the carb. There's going to be gas everywhere. The master cylinder is right there where it would have gotten soaked with everything and made it that much more difficult and slippery to get in and out. So I decided to start with the master cylinder, fix the brakes, and then work my way over to actually getting it to run. So that was the reason I did it in that order. But new master cylinder, brakes are bled. They need a little bit more gravity bleeding, but they do work. So that's not bad for sitting for 15 years and just replacing a master cylinder. I think next step is going to be to go ahead and try to get it running so it has a reason to stop in the first place, which we'll probably work on next time, maybe the time after that. Who knows? It's just maybe even time after time. You never know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.